Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. Welcome to the Wellness Superheroes. We are your hosts. I'm Annie,
And I'm Jodi.
and we have our wrap up episode for you for the closing out of 2022. So, Jodi and I are just going to chat a bit about what we've learnt and what we've come across so far in our couple of months doing interviews and shows and whatnot, and what we're going to keep and what we're going to kick. Isn't that right, Jodi?
Yep. Yeah. We're going to talk about our experiences with all these different protocols that we've tried. And, we'll see. We'll see what the rating is. And I guess we should explain our ratings, right?
Okay.
Yeah. We have the thumbs up, which means we liked it. We have the thumbs down, which means didn't work really for us. And then we have the heart, which is something that we love and that really works.
Yeah, and that we're going to stick to.
Yeah.
So the ones with the thumbs up, we've treated like we're going to, take it or leave it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, or as necessary. If we feel like we need it, we'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, without further ado, I'll add our little slides to the screen. So our 2022 protocols: keep it or kick it. There we go. There's us. What we've learnt so far. So we'll start with chlorine dioxide solution because that's what we started with in our collaborative biohacking journey, wasn't it, Jodi?
Yep.
So I'll go first if you like. I found that it really improved my energy. The chlorine dioxide really improved my skin and the like. It was very effective at detoxing, I found, but it was very, very difficult to for people to get their head around in order how to set it up and how to use it. So it's not really user friendly.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And for me, I found out about it, in October of 2021. I think this guy sent me a whole kit to make it, because this is the solution we're talking about, not excuse me, not MMS, but the solution that you have to make, and you basically have to turn your kitchen into like a chemistry set. And so it's not difficult once you do it, but if you're helping other people, especially elderly people, it's too hard for them to do, in my opinion, and to keep at it and to keep doing it. But I found that it helped me a lot in the beginning, and then I stopped it because I was trying other protocols, because I don't recommend anything for anybody unless I've tried it myself. So I tried something else, and then when I got back on it, it didn't seem to improve anything after that. It was very weird. And and I had indigestion with it, and then I just I was kind of like, I could take it or leave it at that point. And I was kind of disappointed because, I'd been on all the Telegram channels, and, everybody's saying, what a miracle it was and how it heals everything. It didn't heal everything for me. It did make me feel really good the first 6 weeks. And then after that, I didn't see much of a difference. But I will say topically, with using it with DMSO was really good. Especially I got this like cancerous growth off my chest, and it fell after 2 weeks of applying the mother solution and a DMSO gel on top. And those two things together was great. And just some other things I did. I liked it, but we'll talk about, why we prefer another protocol as opposed to this one. And this is just our opinion. We'll probably both continue to use chlorine dioxide solution and possibly recommend it for others, but not for everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think in looking back, I think people had real wow moments when they were using the MMS, which is really not pleasant to drink. You get big herxing reactions with that.
Exactly.
But people would have big wows, like the testimonies were incredible.
Right.
But yeah, chlorine dioxide solution was really good. It was a gentle way of doing it, but yeah, you had to turn your kitchen into a lab basically, and it was a bit too tricky for people to wrap their heads around, and just tedious, I think, sometimes.
Right.
We do still have it in our fridge. My parents both still take it, so better that than nothing,
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, I will use it for definitely for certain things, especially topically skin stuff. As I think that was my best experience from that. But we found something else that we think is a little bit more restorative to your system, because this kills things, and you know, um, and you have to restore once you do this, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's bit one dimensional in that it doesn't bring a holistic approach
Yeah.
to bringing balance to the body.
Right.
Um, but on that, our journey has been trying to make our way upriver
Right.
to see what can be amended for the on-flow effect. So chlorine dioxide was far up the river, but we've
Yes.
been up further.
Yes. We've been up further. We've learned more and more.
Yes, just to use a corny analogy.
Yeah.
So after we did the CDS, we tried Andreas Kalkar's parasite protocol.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, do you want to kick us off with this one?
Yeah. So, and Andreas Kalker, for those of you who don't know, he's the one who came up with the chlorine dioxide solution, the one you make at home. And he's a brilliant, I think, biochemist, and I really adore him, and I adore everything he does. I've studied him for quite a while, ever since I got that cassette sent to me. So we all went on, Annie and I and our friend Anne Marie, we all three went on it together, and we did it together. And it's a 3-month intense protocol that has supposedly healed a lot of people from vaccine injury and children of autism and all kinds of stuff. So it's a very intense protocol. And it requires you to take pharmaceuticals that are hard to find, and antiparasitics. And I believe, Annie, you were taking mebendazole, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was taking finbendazole, and those are pretty strong antiparasitics. And then we were also instructed to take this parental promote,
Yeah.
which is really like, you give it to dogs, I believe. And it's kind of a nasty yellow liquid that you drink, and castor oil. So it was a lot of stuff to take. Um, and you were on the toilet a lot during
Hmm.
this. And
Yeah.
we would do it. You were like 9 days on, and then, or 18 days on, and then the rest of the month you didn't do anything, and it was very specific day by day what to take. So you really had to follow it, but it was too much, at least for me, because at one point he wanted you to take like a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of castor oil a day, which is really hard to do. And if you do
Yeah.
that, you would just have massive diarrhea nonstop.
Yeah.
And so I think I only did the castor oil a few times. Castor oil is amazing, but that was a little too much for me. Um, and at the end of the 3 months, I felt worse. I did not feel better. I didn't see anything come out, if you will, anything of consequence. And he also wanted you to do enemas, the chlorine dioxide enema. And I did that a few times.
He wanted them done daily as well, so
Yeah,
that
he
was
wanted those
just too hard to
daily. It
manage.
was a
Yeah.
very intense protocol for somebody who's really quite ill.
Mm.
And we weren't, at that stage. I mean, both of us have, serious health issues that we're dealing with. But anyway, it was really hard to follow to the T. And I honestly felt like it harmed me and didn't help me personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've kind of come to the conclusion, haven't we, that anything that recommends you do pharmaceuticals is probably not one you want to do,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
We're really starting to steer away from pharmaceuticals,
Yeah.
any sort. So, and also, though both of those antiparasitics were not recommended for long-term use, and this was a 3-month protocol where you're doing it for 18 days.
Right.
So, we had some people who tried it who it did not, it caused more issues than it fixed. So,
Gastritis. Didn't your mom have
yeah.
gastritis? Yeah. Hmm.
No, a friend of mine had a gastritis, so
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was not. Mum just had mum didn't do it. She had indigestion on the CDS. So
Yeah. So did I. So did
mm,
I.
yeah,
Yeah. And I had really a bad indigestion on this, because you were doing the CDS along with, along with all this stuff as well. So it was a lot.
It was
And
costly too. Like you had to like scour the internet and find all these things. Like there was neem, and then there was other, Indian tinctures and things that you had to source. It
yes,
was not easy to do,
yeah, it
and
was
not beneficial.
unpleasant to ingest some of that stuff. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it was,
I found no benefit from it either. I didn't feel any
yeah,
different. If anything, I felt worse. So
yeah, I felt worse afterwards, and I've done a lot of parasite cleanses, and that might be one of my problems. Is I had done a lot of parasite cleanses, but I hadn't done any heavy metal detoxes, which we'll get into in a bit. And when you do a lot of parasite cleanses, when the parasites die, they excrete bacteria, toxic chemicals, and heavy metals. And if those aren't cleaned out, cleared out, they build up in your system as a result.
yeah.
And so, and I found that out when somebody said, "Oh, you've never done a heavy metal detox and you've done all these parasite cleanses." And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Oh man, it's going to be hard for you to detox the metals." And
Mm,
they were right.
mm. Well, I mean, also that it just we actually learnt a lot
Hmm.
from doing this protocol. We went down the rabbit hole and discovered what benefits there were to castor oil, and the way that the protocol was set out was it made sense. The way Andreas Kalker had set it up, to have alternating days to trick the parasites, start on a full moon, all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So we learnt a lot about parasites through this parasite
Yes,
protocol.
we sure did.
It was very key to a lot of our education and our understanding up to this point, or to getting us here this far.
Right. Right.
And I thought that the enemas and the CDS enemas, I think that was really clever in terms of breaking down biofilm. That was a real
Hmm.
eye opener for me. I thought that's really interesting. But again, I did it myself, and I didn't notice much
Right.
expelled. So
Yeah.
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 So yeah, we learn a lot from Andres Kalker's Parasite Protocol, but we're not gonna recommend it or do it ever again.
Yeah. Exactly.
Kicking this one to the curb.
Yeah.
Insert, boing, insert sound effect here.
Right.
Which brings us to castor oil.
Castor.
So, Jodi, you really jumped down this.
I did. I jumped in full on because when we were on the Calker protocol, I had Castrol in there, and I know he's a really smart guy. And it was really hard, by the way, to find ingestible castor oil. Like you go to the drugstore and they've got a lot of castor oil for your hair and skin, topical applications, but they all say do not use internally. And I was like, that's weird. Because when I was growing up, my grandmother, like she was always, telling me to do castor oil if I was constipated.
Yeah.
And so I was, those old glass bottles. And so I hadn't used it in years. So I thought that's weird. And so I had to order it. I went to 3 different stores, couldn't find it. I went online. I found it on a Walgreens order online, and I got it delivered. And but then I found out later that some of the organic ones that are sold as hairs, and topical can be ingested. They just don't want you to ingest it because it is very anyway. So when we were looking at this, and I thought, the castor oil must be an anti-parasitic if Calker has it on here. And
Yeah.
so we decided to look, and I think it was either you or Anne Marie.
It was Anne Marie.
Yeah, looked up and found that castor oil was better than any anti-parasitic drug at killing parasites faster. It suffocated them faster and killed them faster.
Yep.
And so we were like, whoa, and so and I was like, whoa. And so I did a lot of experimentation, and I went, and this little picture here is from what they call it, the Queen of Thrones shop, queenofthrones.com, if you want to go look at it. And they have all kinds of castor oil packs, really easy to do because castor oil external application has been around for, I've been told, thousands of years, and it was used to detox the liver. And what you would do is you would take a cotton or a wool flannel cloth, and you'd pour castor oil on it, apply it on your liver, and wrap something around it and sleep on it. But it was messy and sticky and yucky. And so Queen of Thrones, this gal, she came up with this pack where it's it's like this waterproof material on the outside, and then the inside is this soft, like cotton sherpa that you pour the castor oil, and then it has elastic ties that you tie around yourself, and then you can wear it during the day, or you can sleep, and you can apply heat on it, which really helps penetrate it. But when I learned that it was used to detox the liver from the outside in, that's when I thought it must be penetrating your skin to kill parasites, and that's how it detoxes. That's what I assumed.
Yeah.
And then I started experimenting on different areas of my body, and I saw that on the reviews of that site that so many people were having their arthritis was improving, and other things, pains and joint pain and inflammation was improving around the body. And I already knew that parasites cause arthritis, and so, like, the root cause of arthritis. So then I just started kind of experimenting, putting out different areas of my body, and I would notice that the pain would go away. And then Annie.
Yeah, I had bursitis in my hip, and it was really painful. And I thought, well, all right, I'll give it a go. I couldn't get the Queen of Thrones pack delivered directly from them, so Jodi graciously ordered me one and shipped it my way. So while I was waiting for that, I just used gauze bandage and some cling film, some shrink wrap, and put that around my leg and around my hip, and after 3 applications, completely gone. So from excruciating pain to, yeah, three
Yeah.
3 nights of application. My pain would be 9 out of 10, after being on my feet at work or whatever. I'd get home, I'd put it on, go to bed, and then wake up in the morning, my pain would be gone. So, castor oil is, no fad, that's for sure.
Yeah, no fad. And then the other thing that I discovered was this thing called a castor patch, and we can put links to this once we post the recording. We'll put links to this, and it's really, yeah. Edgar Casey, yeah, he did talk about castor oil, and it's in the Bible. I think it's called the Palm of Christ or something, isn't it? Like the
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah. So they've been using it for a very long time. But when I found this thing called castor patch, I was very inquisitive, so I bought it. And it's this, like, jar of castor oil and essential oils and onion extract, and you have to keep it in the fridge. And then they give you these, like, roll out kind of transparent bandages, like you would do if you had surgery or something. And so you roll it out, cut it, and then you kind of take one side off, this where the sticky side is up, and then you just put a teaspoon or a tablespoon of the gook on there, and then you slap it on your body wherever you want it, and then it sticks, right? It's kind of messy because it kind of melts really quick with your body heat. But I started using that, and I used it on my lower back, kind of where I have really bad pain because I fell and broke my tailbone years ago. And so it's kind of back there, and then on my hip. And the 2 places that I put it on more than once with heat, these bumps formed, like these really thick, almost like cysts formed on my skin. And I was like, whoa, did that draw like parasites out? And I don't know. And I won't tell you, it was kind of gross, but it was really interesting. And I mean, and what's really interesting is those 2 spots don't hurt anymore.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Other places hurt on my body, but those 2 spots do not hurt anymore. And so it was very interesting to go, I wonder what was that? Was it toxins? Was it bacteria? What was that? Because an onion extract is known, and onions, for very various purposes of healing, especially drawing stuff out. And so, yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. For reducing warts. Yeah, I didn't know that. So anyway, really, really interesting experiences with that. And I will continue to use the castor patch. And I've used it, like, on my shin when it was hurting, and I would just slap that on, and I'd have to lay down, put my leg up for like 30 minutes, pain gone, like, for an hour. So it's really a miracle, this stuff,
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah, no, we definitely found some incredible benefits. Like, I saw the photos that you're referring to of those cysts on your hip,
Yeah.
and it was incredible to see how they changed on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could see it was like bacteria coming out. It was gross, but I was like, it was so fascinating to me because I was like, oh my gosh, is it like penetrating, killing the parasite and then drawing it out, or drawing, its bacteria or whatever that's causing the inflammation. So very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, very fascinating. Cool. So then you did, I haven't done this one, but you've done Dr. Group's Heavy Metal Detox.
Yeah, so Dr. Group's Heavy Metal Detox from globalhealing.com. And so it includes 2 tinctures. One is a heavy metal tincture that has all natural like herbs and extracts in it for detoxing heavy metals. And then the other one is his iodine, which I totally recommend. I think he has the best iodine on the market. And you take those at different times of the day. Super easy to do. And then at night you put the foot pads on. And I think I've done foot pads years ago, and it very beneficial, and it draws the toxins out. What I find interesting is he used to have zeolite in his tincture, but he took it out. And then I read that the zeolite is actually in the foot pads. So I found that kind of interesting. And so the foot pads, oh my God, like so much stuff came out in my foot pads when I was doing it. And I was like, whoa. I mean, it was like, because I've done so many detoxes, and I was like, how do I have this much stuff? That's when I found out, oh, if you haven't done a heavy metal cleanse and you've been killing parasites for years, then, you're going to have a buildup of heavy metals in your body. And so the pads were great. Everything was easy to take, but oh my gosh, did I have major Herx reactions. Was like down for the count for like 1 week. I was in so much pain. I had to stop the tinctures, and I just did the foot pads. And so I'm hoping I can do it again, maybe in the future. But if you've got a lot of heavy metal buildup like I do, apparently, it was hard. But I do recommend this for anyone else who has been doing cleansing on a regular basis. And Dr. Group always said, you want to cleanse the in order: the colon, then the colon, then the liver, then the parasite cleanse, and then the heavy metals. Because as I said, the parasites, when they die off, they'll release toxic chemicals and heavy metals, bacteria and stuff. And so this one, he just sweeps all of the rest of it out. But it was too hard for me. I couldn't continue it. So that's why it's not a hard, it's a thumbs up. Hopefully I can do it in the future, maybe.
Yeah. But still, the foot pads were really...
Yeah. Sorry, there was a delay.
Oh, yeah, the foot pads were really beneficial. You noticed a difference with those.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a bit hard on you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You were having to drink so much water, and you were resting a lot. So
yeah,
probably a better maintenance one, not an initial, intro
to heavy metal. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then you tried Mrs. Rogers Hood's Fulvic Soak.
I did. And this is a powder that she makes, Kim Rogers. She makes this and herself. And so it has all these fulvic minerals, and and what you do is you add it to either a foot soak or the bathtub, and you soak for 30 minutes. Then you let it sit for 30 minutes, and it's like almost black. It's like really dark brown, blackish. And then you are supposed to go in there and look in the dark with your phone and a flash on to see what you see. And you can see a lot of specks, like white specks, which I'm assuming are metals coming out. It's really good to do this while you're on a parasite or a heavy metal detox, because this brings it out in a different way. And then you also saw, and a lot of people have seen this when they've done it, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. On her YouTube, she's called the Worm Queen, and you see these long, stringy, really tiny, stringy things. And I saw them in mine, and I thought that was really interesting. And I thought, oh, that's probably a hair, because my hair is like blonde and silver or whatever. And so I thought they were hairs. And so when I did my foot soak, I saw the same things, and I thought, well, that would be weird for my my hairs to be in there. So I thought, so I took a metal tweezers to pick the hair out, and it literally went to the metal tweezer magnetically and stuck to it. And I even pulled a hair out and put it in there to compare, the size, and it wasn't a hair. So all those long, they were like metallic worms, if you will. I mean, like, and I don't know if that's graphene oxide or if it's just metals and they just come out through your sweat glands, where your
They
nerves
looked
are.
similar to Morgellons.
Yes, Morgellons. That's
Yeah.
exactly what they look like. And I think Kelsey said that most likely it was Morgellons, and she said we all have Morgellons from what they're pushing in the air to us. So yeah, that was quite interesting. And I will say I've done it about 3 or 4 times, and every time I felt a little better afterwards. My pain in my body was better. And so I think this is a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I did try to get some, but then when I went to order it, I found that it was the packet is fine. It's $15
Yeah.
US for
Mhm.
the Fulvic soak, but to ship to Australia it was $100 US, so that kind of put me off.
That's so
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah. So,
Ridiculous.
um,
Yeah.
so if she was, so if I had enough people wanting to buy a packet or whatever, it might make it worth it. But I couldn't justify $100 US shipping for one $15 packet of Fulvic soap. But I did. I saw plenty of TikTok videos. I saw your videos from your baths, and no doubt it works.
Yeah.
And gentle too. So you
Yeah.
didn't necessarily feel
No. Yeah.
particularly fatigued or
No. But I
anything
did
afterwards.
notice every time I did it, I had gas, which I thought was really weird. Yeah.
Could that have been something like, because our skin is something that absorbs things as well? Could it have been absorbing the fulvic
Maybe
minerals?
so. Yeah. Into my, my intestines, maybe. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So then we've both been doing the Touchstone Parasite Focus, which
Yep.
based on our ebook. I've been taking the Touchstone Zeolite for the last 18 months. After I saw Dr. Sherry Tenpenny do a live with the company CEO on Instagram back in 2020. And she
Mhm.
was talking about using this for detox of heavy metals from, certain injections and all the
Oh,
other crap.
yeah.
Yeah, and so I bought one and gave it a go. And so I'd noticed, like it was, it was tasteless. I didn't necessarily have to jump through all the hoops like you kind of did with CDSs to take away from food or take without your, um, take away from your supplements and your medications and whatnot. It was just like I just spray it whenever I remembered 3 times a day. So it was very easy to chuck into my regimen. Didn't feel like I was really detoxing
Yeah.
in the way that I didn't have Herxheimer reactions. I felt clearer headed
Mhm.
and slept better, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just got a delivery today. I got some more fulvic minerals. So
Yeah. And I started, I've heard about Touchstone forever. Probably I might have seen the same thing you did because everybody was recommending that, and I was like, oh, I don't want to add another thing to my, what I'm already doing, right? Because but I finally decided to give it a go, and I did it. I gave it a go after I did the Dr. Group's heavy metal detox, and I noticed that this was so much easier on my system. And
mm,
I started with just the zeolite spray, the PBX,
yeah,
Pure Body Extra, and it's just so easy. I did it, in the morning, afternoon, and evening, I think. And then I noticed I started feeling better, like within a week. And then we were interviewing Hannah, and we interviewed her several times, and she explained like all 3 products in detail. And so then I started doing the gut drops. I started doing her protocol, and then I added the fulvic in there, the fulvic plus, which has fulvic and zeolite. And this 3 combination is, I think, a perfect way to detox the gut and cellular detox your body in a very gentle way with little to no side effects. And I think it goes along with other protocols. It does not interfere.
no,
And that's a really good thing. And I feel like anybody can take this, right? Kids.
yeah, pregnant mums,
Yeah.
elderly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yep.
I didn't have any kind of hardcore Herx reactions. And what's great about Touchstone is they're such a great company. They have everything they do is like supporting your detox journey. So if you do have Herx reactions, they've got, like some supplements. They've got a great CBD oil as well. If you have joint or pain, during your detox.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We spent a lot of time understanding the benefit that these 3 products have on the body, and yeah, Hannah's wealth of information. She's been using this for I don't want to say a number of years, because I think the company is only about 10 to 12 years old, but she's been using it for a significant period of time with her family and her patients, and she's noticed a lot of benefit. So, we wrote an ebook which we'll unpack. We've got an episode to roll out for that, which we will do early in the new year, for those who want to know more about this little bundle.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so then we go into the B3 bands. We had Dr. Mike on at the beginning of the month, the founder of the B3 Sciences company who did the B3 bands. And we've just been blown away by this, haven't we, Jodi?
Yeah.
Both of us have been frustrated with our lack of physical capacity and wanting to get better. But, you'd never see me in a gym. Like I might be tempted to, someone might sweet talk me enough to sign the dotted line and pay the subscription, but I'd quickly cancel soon after. It would not, the feeling would not last.
Right.
So I've noticed big benefits. I haven't yet been able to be consistent enough, just, end of year and it's been busy and whatnot. But every time I put them on, I will, and I feel the burn. I get a surge of energy, and I'll often do it just before I go for a shift at work. And I find that energy carries me through my shift. So
yeah, and I think too, I feel the same way when I do it, and I haven't been consistent either, and that's my New Year's resolution. Because it's great for someone like me who got really sick in 2021, and I lost a lot of my muscle tone, and it's been really hard with my pain. To go back to the gym and to exercise on a regular basis like I used to. And this is perfect because it only takes a few minutes and it's not hard to do and it won't hurt you. It's not strenuous as far as like your body's ability to do things.
Yeah, it is. It's really perfect because any other workout program, whatever, you're looking at like at least an hour commitment in terms of getting yourself ready, doing the workout, the warm up, the cool down, and then, getting yourself, cooled off or whatever and changed and, onto the next thing. This literally you can, just put over your clothes. You don't actually, whatever clothes you're wearing, you don't have to have your active wear on. Right. And it is, you're literally committing 5 to 10 minutes and that's it.
And that's it. Yeah.
And you feel an instant benefit. So this is no fad either. And we absolutely love this. And it's also my New Year's resolution to actually be consistent with this. I think I did it. I think I did it every day for 2 weeks and that was about it.
We got to do our contest with Tank. Remember? Like we got to start that at the beginning of the year and really do it. Like really commit to the contest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm keen for that. But also just the next level biohack with the tapping into our body's own nitric oxide and human growth hormone, which, regenerates and repairs, your whole system. It's, you might wear your bands around your arms and your legs, but it actually releases those substances systemically. So it's not like, it only goes to your arms and your legs, it's really, it's really great. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what results we churn out next year when we commit to this. So yes. So all right. And then the one we're currently focused on, Niacin and Friends.
Niacin and Friends.
So do you go?
We found out about this from actually Kelsey Kinney, who I had befriended, probably the last 6 months, and I found out her background, and then she kept promoting it. niacin and Dr. Dimitri Katz. And that's when both Annie and I started looking into it and going, whoa. And he was the one also who has been shouting from the rooftops about how toxic ivermectin is. And ever since we came out with that information, it has not been fun for us because we've been targeted since then. So it's been very interesting to experience that. But we did learn that no matter what you're suffering from, including ivermectin toxicity or, the thing in your arm that you might have gotten a few times this last 2 years, that it completely detoxes you from it. And it detoxes you from any pharmaceutical product, we found out. And the job of niacin, from what I understand, it is part of every body process. It is needed. And oh,
You're
great.
welcome.
Love that. Yay.
I'm so glad.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah. So it flushes the stagnant energy out of your body, and the stagnant energy is what causes inflammation and disease. And so it's kind of like stuck up in there, and that's including in your organs, in your joints, wherever. And we're putting together an ebook for this as well. It's been a little hard because the protocol keeps changing, but we think this might be it. Fingers crossed. That you can see on the screen here, but it is. There's so much evidence and so many studies about how beneficial niacin is and how effective it is in healing almost every disease or issue or illness, and including COVID. And
well, I've just been compiling three documents of studies in the last 24 hours. And the big C and heart disease, I've compiled over 50 studies, nearly.
Wow.
Nearly 50 studies for the heart one and almost 50 studies for the big C.
Yeah. And that's just, we've just barely hit the surface because we're trying to put all the studies in either a document or a web page. And we might have to put it behind a paywall or something because we don't want to get canceled, because this is stuff they don't want you to know. They do not want you to know about this. And Dr. Katz has been digging into this for years. He's an epidemiologist, a biostatistician, has his master's in public health. He is a mathematician and a chemist. He is the definition of a scientist. And his goal is to to heal humanity, basically, from what I can tell. And so he's been just digging and digging and digging and digging, and the latest three things on his protocol is niacin, B3, nicotinic acid. You have to get that form, folic acid, which is B9, and it has to say folic acid. And then the latest addition is lactoferrin, which it helps your body absorb iron. And so just those three things right now. And there's other things you can do if you want to that are optional. But those three things seem to be like the magic three. And I've been doing these three things for the last several days, and I've felt a huge difference. And I felt my energy's better, but I'm also sleeping like really well. In fact, I usually have to take a nap during the day, but it's this restful sleep that I haven't gotten in years. And it's like when I lay down, it's like I just conk out. And then when I wake up, I'm refreshed. And that hasn't happened in years. So it is like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And because when I was taking the protocol before lactoferrin, I had indigestion. And it seems to be more even with the lactoferrin. And he's been posting studies in his Telegram group about how beneficial lactoferrin is and how lactoferrin removes the biofilm, which I didn't know.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa. And, it heals all kinds of things on its own. And there were studies that it healed COVID by itself. So
wow.
I'm so excited about this protocol because it's something that you can stay on. There's therapeutic, you build up to a therapeutic doses. And then when you feel like you're okay, then there's maintenance doses. But it's so inexpensive and so easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And it's, if I can use the analogy again, this is what we've found that's further upstream, and I think this is what Dr. Katz's work has been about, and why it has changed so much is because he is looking for the domino effect. So if you go to the most fundamental cornerstone building block of cellular function,
Mhm.
this would probably be it. Everyone is vitamin B deficient. Everyone needs vitamin B, and interestingly,
B3.
B3, yeah,
Yeah.
vitamin B3, yeah. Interestingly, the comparison of symptoms of aging correlates with that of pellagra, which is the symptoms of vitamin B3 deficiency. So that's a little mind blown, that one.
Yeah.
That one we'll include in our ebook, plenty of images and whatnot. So yeah,
Yeah.
this, I think we've probably hit the mother lode with this one, and hopefully that as he's simplified the protocol, that this is like the basic one.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I feel like that, I mean, he's discovered things. I think he has access to things because I think he's still studying, getting grants and studying. And he found that this one scientist who had, I believe, was part of the team that discovered B3 and folic acid and B12 and lactoferrin, and they were using it back then to heal pellagra. It was like the magic thing to heal pellagra, and that was silenced forever. And then also niacin, since it's a natural substance, it can't be patented, but they've tried to use it because they've tried to they have to adjust it, and so there's a lot of drugs based on niacin. When
Statin's one of them.
Yeah, statins and a lot of other, prescription niacin or whatever, but they're different forms of niacin. And so that's what's so important is we learned from working with Kelsey and listening and watching Dr. Katz is that you want to give your body what he calls the precursor form, which is the original form, so niacin, and then your body decides how to use it, what other forms to make, like NAD plus and 9,9-menoside and all this stuff, because it can make those forms depending on what your body needs. But when you give it an alternate form, it can't make the other forms.
It's not as adaptable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah, that is this, I feel like, I mean, I was so blown away by this protocol and just learning everything and how much evidence there's been and how much it's been silenced, and how it, heals you from almost anything,
Yep.
and eventually, and then, and we think also that this is a great pair with the touchtone protocol as well. That it will not interfere, and it's a great one to take with it because niacin is detoxifying as well. I do feel like niacin is also an anti-parasitic just naturally, because niacin not only clears your body, but it's restorative. So it heals your gut. It's healed colitis. Just doing enemas, niacin enemas healed colitis. And we'll
Wow.
put that picture that Kelsey gave us of the two examples of them, a person who had severe colitis, and after 3 months of just doing the enemas, clean, looks like a perfect colon.
Yeah.
It's just astonishing. So we just really feel like, this is it, and we think both the touchstone and this are, like I said, perfect combinations, because the touchstone can get the heavy metals out and other things that maybe niacin can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't there was Dr. Artis, wasn't he? He was talking about nicotine gum.
Yeah, because he discovered that the whole nicotinic acid was beneficial, and that people who were smoking or taking nicotine gum didn't get sick with COVID. And so he was recommending nicotine gum, but that's not as beneficial as taking niacin. I mean, that's only going to protect you, according to Kelsey, just a tiny bit,
Yeah.
whereas niacin will fully protect you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. And there was
And it
something else
has
I was going to say.
other crap in it. It has other crap in it that it's not good for you.
Well, and talk about things that were censored, right? So everyone knows, even those who who, you know, have got the jab will have heard of ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. Like, they became household names over the last 2 years. So, you know, censored, how censored were they? I'd never heard of niacin in the course of the last 2 years, 2.5 years.
I had heard of it. I had actually been on Dr. Katz's channel, but I got turned away because I had had a bad experience, what I thought was a bad experience with niacin, because I worked with a functional medicine doctor and she's put me on a bunch of supplements, didn't tell me I was going to have a flush, thought I was having an allergic reaction, and I stopped. And she never explained it to me. It was weird.
Wow.
And then when I learned about, oh, that's part of the healing is the flush. So you're not, if you take niacin, even if you OD on it, which our friend Cynthia, I don't know if she's watching, but she ended up accidentally taking like 8 times the starting dose. And it was not fun for her for several hours, but you know, it's going to come out of your body. But it's not going to kill you, and it's not an allergic reaction. And if you do feel like you can't take the flush, you're too scared or whatever, all you have to do is take an aspirin and it will stop the flush.
Yeah, but it also inhibit the benefits that the niacin's having, which you don't really want to do. So, just write out the flush. It's okay.
Write it out. It's no big deal once you do it. And once you know, like when I had that reaction years ago and I didn't understand what was going on, I freaked out. I thought I was having an anaphylactic shock reaction. My throat started closing up. I started having other symptoms.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. You know, that's what I thought, because I was beet red, you know, and I was splotchy and everything. I was like, you know, that's what I assumed, because I've had anaphylactic shock once, and those were the symptoms. And so your mind plays tricks on you, and you can create that if you think that's what's happening. But if you know this is a healing process, then you're like, this is awesome. I'm flushing. I'm splotching, you know?
So this is that study. I thought I'd pull it up now because I might forget. Is this one the colitis?
Yep, that's the colitis. And the top two is the 2 different patients that had severe colitis. And then I think the second photos are like after, what does it say? No treatment.
No response. Yeah.
No response. I don't know what it was, like what they gave him. There was no response. And then the third one is after 3 months of niacin enemas twice a week.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing. Yeah. I do have the copy to that study somewhere, but I just thought I'd chuck up the screenshot.
Yeah.
Because it's that's quite a marked difference.
Yeah.
Wow. So so we are working our little butts off trying to get this niacin info out, collate it and present it in a layman's terms way. Aren't we?
It's been a bit challenging because Dr. Katz he changed the protocol like 3 times since we put out our last video. But I feel confident that this is it.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah.
So what's to come in 2023? So we're going to do a niacin series, aren't we, Jodi?
Yes, we are.
So remind me, what's that going to look like?
Well, we're going to continue to interview Kelsey, and hopefully we're going to be interviewing Dr. Katz as well. So we want to continue to kind of, let people know if the protocol changes or whatever. We're just going to keep up with it, and we're going to keep up with our journey on it as well.
Yeah. We've also got some interesting guests talking about EMF protection and the harmful effects of EMF on our health and our bodies. We've also
one in the can, and then we're going to interview another person and put them out together. So
we'll have it'll be a little bit more of a frequency series, I think, one at frequency health, quantum health kind of a thing. Colloidal Silver will be having your stepmother as a guest to talk about your father's business. Fingers crossed.
It's not her, it might be me. So, but
we'll see how we go. Hopefully her. And then the truth about supplements. Now this is really interesting, and this is since our study into niacin, isn't it, Jodi?
Yes. Just realizing and learning from Kelsey and Dr. Katz that, that the sort of lie that you need supplementation with vitamin C and D when they're not healthy. What's being put out now is not healthy. And by the way, it doesn't actually improve your vitamin C and D levels. What does improve your vitamin C and D levels is taking niacin, because we're all niacin deficient. And once you have enough niacin, your body is allowed, from what I understand, to produce the C and the D that you need.
Yeah. Amongst many other minerals.
Yes.
And vitamins that our bodies are naturally meant to be able to provide, because, hundreds of years ago, people weren't supplementing, were they? Let's be honest.
No, they weren't. And they didn't need to. And they've been robbing our food of niacin and encouraging us to not eat meat and fish, which is niacin rich, those foods. And so they're, wanting us to eat bugs, which I'm pretty sure don't have any niacin in it. And they've just taken it out of a lot of stuff. They've taken, I think, taken it out of the grains. It used to be in a lot of grains. I don't even know if it's in there anymore. So.
Well, no, certainly wouldn't, not with all the pesticides, herbicides that have been sprayed on crops, and not to mention how much of it would be GMO.
Exactly. And apparently all vitamin C is GMO, and it's mold. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And vitamin D is apparently what they use in rat poison. Vitamin D now that is out now is what is used for rat. And you can look on the thing about rat poison, because it says that it's basically vitamin D. That's what it says. D3. It's vitamin D3, and I'm like, what? This is like, oh my God, Yeah. So anyway,
it just gets more and more horrifying, doesn't it? Really. So we'll have the Truth About Supplement series. That'll be good. Human design, which I think, is that more around emotional wellness, Jodi?
Yeah, well, it's more, so human design is like a combination of like astrology and psychology and some other things. And I have a friend that I went through a program with who is an expert at human design, and she's written, I think, 3 books on it. And so we're going to interview her. She's amazing. And so maybe she'll do ours and kind of show some stuff. And, it'll be great. We can promote her work, and I know a lot of people, at least in Life Force and on the Life Force chat, have talked about human design. And it's just really interesting to understand yourself better. And I just find it fascinating, and it really helps you. I think I can't remember all the different types. There's manifestor, generator, projector, maybe catalyst or something like that. I can't remember the last one. And I'm a manifesting generator. So, and that makes sense. So, yeah. And then emotional detoxing, and that's going to be me. That's my expertise.
Yeah.
And so I've written a book about it, and we'll do, Annie will interview me probably, and then we'll get to talking about the other stuff we're going to do, ebooks and courses on that topic.
Yeah, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about the website launch. This is part of the problem as to why we haven't been able to, is because of since our episode with Kelsey on ivermectin and niacin, we have had some serious technical difficulties. So this will be coming.
It will be coming, and it actually it has started. My computer, they fried my computer. My 27-inch iMac was electrocuted, and so I'm working on this little MacBook Air laptop, which I can barely function on. So it's been kind of difficult. Plus, we're trying to hook up a payment provider, and I was canceled by all the payment providers. So that's been a struggle on which platform to use, so we can make sure that we don't get canceled, and that if we do have things for sale, that we can actually sell them and they can actually give us the money. That's been a real struggle for a whole year for me. So
yeah, that's been a very, very sore point of frustration for you.
So
coming soon. Hang in there.
Yeah.
We're closer now than we ever were.
Before the end of the year.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Like we said, we've got some ebooks. So we've yet to launch the Parasite Focus walkthrough that we did with Hannah Bennett, who co-wrote it with us. We will be finishing and launching the Niacin and Friends, and then launching that with Kelsey Kenny, molecular biologist, to help people understand how that will work. And then Jodi, your emotional detox.
And that one's content. Ready to go. Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
one's ready to go. So that'll be good. So we've got some ebooks in the pipeline. And then beta detox groups. So we will have these as like closed group and for 8 to 12 weeks, just to kind of gather some data for willing folk who, you know, want to have some support. You know, it's always easier doing hard things when you're doing them with other people. Got
Yes.
emotional support.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that for the Parasite Focus and Niacin and Friends. We'll have, you know, weekly Zooms or something where we touch base and talk everyone through how they're going and all that sort of stuff, and actually do some data collection, which will be good.
Exactly. Yeah. And we'll probably do 2 separate groups. The Parasite Focus we'll do with Hannah. And then the Niacin and Friends we'll do with Kelsey. And then, you know, we don't know what's going to happen after that. We might have like creative courses for this, and then we'll have that data for that. And then, you know, people can sign up for that, or, you know, we'll have coaching groups, or we don't know. It's, you know, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. But this is kind of the kind of the blueprint anyway that we're going to work from. So email us if that's something that you think you might be interested in doing, so we can let you know when we've got more information and closer to launch. We'll also have some online courses, probably mid late next year, I would think.
Yeah, probably the emotional one will be probably pretty early. I mean, I have the whole thing laid out. I just haven't recorded it. So, yeah.
Yeah, so next year, at some point, we'll let you know. And we'd like to thank you for joining us on this journey of detox and wellness, and returning to our bodily autonomy and health sovereignty. You guys are a huge inspiration and motivation as to why we do what we do.
Yep.
And we wish everyone a safe Christmas and a happy New Year. So thanks for joining us live, for those who did. Jodi, do you have anything that you wanted to...
I was going to ask the people that are on live if they have any questions for us before we take off for the year.
That's a good point. So yeah, chuck them in the chat.
Yeah.
We'll answer any questions you've got. Because we haven't done too many lives this year, have we?
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Someone said healthy, happy holidays. And to you, friend.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't say who you are in the StreamYard chat. It just says Facebook user. And I'm pretty sure I know at least one of those people is got to be Cynthia.
Yes. Yeah, I think I saw Cynthia up in there. So we love you, Cynthia.
Yeah, we do.
Will you do anything for pets? Great.
Oh.
Okay.
We're going to do cat nutrition. No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't resist.
Cat nutrition. Tish, you're so funny. Cat with a K. We actually have a bit of pet information with our current Parasite Focus book, and we need to put a pet section in the Niacin one as well, because people have been using it with their pets. So we will, yes.
Yeah, and you can give niacin to your pets. And Kelsey says that she just puts a little sprinkles it on their food, especially cats. And so that's very helpful to cats, especially with arthritis. And also, like you said, the touchstone is really good for cats, for animals as well, pets as well. And I think we have the protocol for that in our ebook, I think.
Yes, or at least we have the area that we're yet to fill out. So,
yeah.
So it will be in the ebook.
Yeah.
Niacin
and same with the niacin. We're going to have pet protocols in there. So,
yeah. Okay. Someone said, I have doctor groups iodine, but haven't started using it yet. Any suggestions, please?
I would just follow the instructions on the bottle. I think they're pretty clear if you want to use iodine to detox. That's
usually a pretty good way to go. And maybe what we found with the zeolite though, Jodi, was not to go for the max. Was it the zeolite? It was the other one, the root blend. The root.
Oh yeah, that was the Root by Clean Slate by Root. We don't recommend that anymore, and I tried that. I on the bottle it says take 10 drops a day, twice a day, and that's what I did. Apparently, that's what you work up to over months, and you start with 1 drop, and it put me into a horrible detox and Herx reaction. So that was like, you know, really hard, and so really hard. And so I don't recommend doing that. But that was really misleading to me to have that on the bottle. I mean, why not say go to the website and look, at what that is. So, but and also Dr. Group's iodine. Also, if you're having, and this is what I've done, and I've heard this from Dr. Group and other naturopaths and other natural physicians and other physicians that I work with in my network that I created. Nebulizing, if you've got lung issues, nebulizing hydrogen peroxide solution, which is a hydrogen peroxide and saline. I can give you the recipe if you guys are interested in it. I've given it to many people. And also adding iodine. Dr. Cruz in our network, he does this all the time, and he said add 2 to 5 drops of iodine in the nebulizer and nebulize that with hydrogen peroxide solution. And then also, if you have colloidal silver, nebulizing colloidal silver. And I've had a cough recently, and doing those 2 things really helped me.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
Yeah. And
another question.
You just drop the iodine in the nebulizer after you pour the hydrogen peroxide solution in there, and then you just take the drops in there. So
Yep.
That's what I do.
Good recommendations, Jodi. Would you suggest niacin over pool water for osteoarthritis?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because technically we don't have a chlorine dioxide deficiency. We do have a niacin deficiency. So yeah, take the thing that we're deficient in, and then you'll have the knock-on effect, the benefits of the knock-on effect.
Yeah. And
Jodi?
Yeah, exactly. And what I realized is that CDS is great, but it's a killer. Like a lot of the parasite and cleanses they kill things, right?
Yeah.
Niacin restores things, and while it's restoring, it also sweeps out the bad gook that you don't want, which includes parasites, metals, and all that kind of stuff. So it's like an all-in-one, if you will. And it's also restorative. So you don't have to take one thing to kill and this thing to do this and that thing to do this. It's just, and that's why, and Touchtone is a good complement because it focuses on the metals, which I don't know if there's evidence about niacin detoxing metals or not. I'm assuming it probably does, but if it doesn't, it's real. To me, the Touchtone, especially the Pure Body Extra, is great to pair with that. Because it binds and takes stuff out. So
yeah, well, I think this is Cynthia. I don't recommend taking 8 times the niacin, but wow, what an experience! I'm glad I knew I wasn't going to die. It's just inconvenient. Oh, bless.
So that's
Cynthia, we'll have to have you on and to tell us that story and how long you were flushing for. That would, if you're comfortable.
She sent me a picture, and she looked like a big tomato. She was just a beet red, like her. She was like. Reminded me of a Seinfeld episode, where this, so.
Yeah, that's too funny. Well done for, going hard or going home, Cynthia. You certainly have lived up to the biohacker, guinea pigger
exactly
title.
Yeah.
And you were in bed for 5 hours. Oh, well, your body would have done what it needed to do, right, in order to process that out. So thanks for all who joined us live, for asking your questions. We're always happy to help. Don't forget, we have our Telegram support groups, our Facebook support groups. We're on YouTube and Facebook as long as that lasts. And then any questions or queries or whatever over the holidays, email us and we'll get to you when we can.
Yep.
So thank you, Jodi. It's been a heck of a ride so far. I've had such fun. Fun.
It's been an adventure.
No one else I'd rather do it with.
Oh, I feel the same way.
Thanks. Well, have a good Christmas.
You too.
And I'll see you in the new year.
Okay. Bye,
Awesome.
everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yes. Where we go.